Stream number 40. So, looking through the to-do list. Today's stream is about map references and grammatical improvements. That's what I wrote, right? Grammatical refinements. So I need to fix this. Today command is wrong. Ribu is. Adding map lookups and grammar refinements. Grammatical refinements to his programmable parser. Today command successfully updated. Okay, let's do map lookups. I do have a map test. What better place to start in? So if we had a map like 69 is 42, and I return x 69, I expect to get 42 back out. Test map lookup R value. And then we'll do the L value after this. Fails. It says x 6942 is not indexable. Let's make it indexable, shall we? Is not indexable. So there are two places, there and there. I'm trying to figure out which one's which. I think this is for L values because it's mutable data value, and the other one is, I think this is R values because it's a component. I think this is the one we want. I think all I need to do is add another case here for map key values. So we definitely want to evaluate some expression, the key, yeah, the index, right? Hey there, TV Schneider. This index is an expression, right? So I think that we should do that first. What do we call that? We call that an index. Hold on. Why is it not like that? Oh, because, right, this doesn't exist. Hey there, Nightshade dude. 2 times a day? Yeah, well, actually, not on weekdays. Not on all weekdays. Today, maybe. It depends. If it's the weekend, yeah. Yeah. I'm streaming more. Yeah, I think you're right all around. Get off my lawn. Got the hair did. Yep, thank you. Get off my lawn. You're the second person to say to notice. Hey there, Apollo. I need some more temples. I got enough temples, man. Also, I gotta like, yeah. Don't remind me. Okay, I was gonna reuse this function, but problem is that it assumes that we're getting an integer. Yeah, for a map, it doesn't. We only want to evaluate expression. We're not evaluating an index expression. And we're not doing a vector index range check either. I think we're just skipping that. So I think what I'm doing is I'm just seeing if this is the key, right? See if the key is in the key values. Key values, get key. Trying to say if you're going to stay up until midnight today to watch the event. Are you not in the Pacific time zone? So you're in a weird time zone where I shouldn't say weird time zone. You're in a different time zone that makes the event start at midnight? I forget what time it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's like during the day in the US, right? Consider borrowing here. Will do. Because that is a value, a data value. What do we do if we don't get anything? I turn it into nil, I think. Yeah, so it's just let value equal get cloned, unwrap, or data value nil. What do we do with that value? I think that goes back into value ref, right? Value ref being an optional value. So it's some. Why is it by reference? Oh, because I don't want to clone it. So that. Okay, but if it's a reference, what do I do if I just get then? So it's value ref, I guess. Yeah. Then what if it goes back to none? Then it goes back to some again. Okay, this is a problem. I guess we break if it's none, right? Or we say it's not indexable if it loops again, right? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I guess we can put it into value. That's what I can do. Right. During Japanese working hours, though, for a change. So it's the other direction, huh? Apple car announcement. That's not the error I was getting, right? I already closed it. If it's a vector containing a map, we'll need to test that. This is just that we hit a part. No, this is if it's empty. Do I have this backwards? I had this backwards. It says it's empty. I have this backwards completely, right? So I should just flip this and remove the word first and next. If part has no iterations, index into vector or map. Index into its value, which needs to be a vector or map. Okay. Otherwise, descend into components iterations. Parts iterations. Yeah, then it has to be an index expression, right? Well, wait. What if we get to a part? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. So if we're at a if we started a part with has iterations, we have to index into that first, right? Actually, not necessarily. There's that clause where hold on, like this, show the call hierarchy. In here, there's where we descend early. This one, yeah, but that does the early descent. Yeah, okay, so that's taken care of by the time we get to here. Okay, so if we get to here and we still haven't iterated in, we do expect to have index expressions. So this isn't the right place to put the code then. Yeah, I'm not going to put it here. It doesn't go here. Take that away. It goes here. Oh, no, I got it backwards again. That's if it's empty. This is hard. Do you want match guard with an additional if condition? Yeah. I don't think I need it here though. This match is either vector or map or something else. So let's say it is a map. Then I get the next key. But what if it's none? It will loop back up and it'll say, well, we need to start the part again. So that's not correct. So I think I need to do something other than that. Or there has to be another condition in here. I have to like remember if we've descended into the part or not. Yeah. Well, why don't we just have a flag? Descended into part. And we're gonna have another error here. I think that's it, right? Value. We'll just, it's value ref. Why can I not, oh, it's an option. That's right. We'll just say the path is not indexable. And because we returned, it's like you don't need an else. Okay. We put a bookmark here and a bookmark here and just run this test. Okay, that fixes that one, but what if what was I gonna say? What if I continue to index? Should I have a code path to test this? Maybe, or just run all the tests to make sure that I didn't break something. Yep, 499. We need to make another test to get to 500. Okay, here we go. Map lookup on not indexable. So we get to 69 and we or actually let's have just test not in, well, map value not indexable. So we just go to 0 or something. I should get a an error. Not indexable error, right? X42 is not indexable. Yeah, there we go. And 500, woohoo! Little 500 test dance. But yeah, I also want to have a test for the other case, right? Which was that, which was what exactly? Oh, if the index isn't found. So that's key not found. Panicked. Oh, it wasn't an error? Oh, right, it isn't an error. It's that we get nil out of it. Yeah, that's by design. By design. I just forget my own design. So if you look it up and it's not there, you get nil. You got the whole map. Okay, that's wrong. Good thing I added a test, huh? So it returned me the whole map. So the iterations would be empty. It should start at the parts value, right? And it should be a map. Descended into part is true. It should get it should return none. And oh, it does unwrap or part value. Okay, here's the problem. We don't want to unwrap into the part value if we've already descended into it. So we need to have that one more check. Right, if descended into part, else this. Data value nil. Cool. Glad I'm writing these tests. I should write more tests. Look up R value is failing now. This is failing? How so? It's returning nil, not 42. Okay. Oh, shoot. It should be if we have a value, it's it. But we don't unwrap, we don't do the unwrap or. Or no, we do the unwrap or, but yeah. So it's actually this. Let value equal, because this is a optional reference. So I want to dereference it or return nil. How do I do this? If let some value ref equal value ref, then it's value ref clone. Else data value nil. So we only clone it if it is some, rather than unwrapping it or getting another reference and cloning that. So it's slightly different, subtly different. Okay. Glad I have all these tests now. 501 of them. Okay, next I want to do L values. So look up L value would be like x69. So look up L value existing. Then we reassign that to like lulls and return x. X should be a map with a B tree map of data value unsigned integer 69 maps to data value string lulls to string. Okay, that's one. The other one is it's not existing or non-existing. So then I want to like put another key in here. 420. Then I should get 69 goes to unsigned integer 42 like it originally starts, and then 420 goes to lulls. Okay, it's not formatting that for me. Why not? I don't know. I broke it. Will it format this? Okay, there it did it. Weird. I think is it because it's a little bit too long there in the string? Too long in the string, maybe? I'll just do this. Stretching the formatter to its limits. Okay, so this isn't going to work. It's going to say it's not indexable. X is not indexable once again. 42069? What's the relevance to specific numbers? Ah, just random numbers. You know, just have to pick something. You know, numbers can be funny. Software updater. Huh. Do that later. Okay, so it's this one, dereference existing, right? Local mutable. So we pre-evaluate the indices, and now we're walking the reference path. And if we have, yeah, so it's in walk index path that we have to do this, right? Okay, except for, here's the trick. These now don't need to be just eye sizes anymore. They could be eye sizes, or they can be, they can just be any kind of value. So let's so we have to defer the casting to this the eye size triform has to be done later. So these have to be done later. And then this has, so actually all of this has to be done later. Index expression is done how many times? Twice. So we can't use evaluate index expression anymore from walk, no, from this one. That's reference indices. This one, right? No, this one? I think so. Yeah, so this one can't, it has to do this now instead. Self, just evaluate expression and collect the results. Because this can't be a eye size yet. It has to be a, what's indices? Oh, yeah, so that also has to be a data value. Okay. So we get optional vector values here. Why is it option vector value? Why is there an option? I don't know. Why is there an option? I don't think it needs to be an option because like if it's an empty, it would just skip the for loop, right? Return value ref, which should be the beginning. Yeah. I don't know why I made that an option. Is it that I don't know. This doesn't need to be there doesn't need to be a sum there. Yeah, this doesn't need to be an option. Nor does that, is that because it has to start out as none? Hold on, maybe that's why. I think that's why. But we can internally make it an option. We just unwrap it, right? Unwrap or empty vector, I guess. Yeah. Okay, now this needs to be some again. But yeah, the return value doesn't need to be an option. So we always do that. Okay, so the walking the index path should take data value now. Okay, for a vector, we have to cast it. So that is the other part of evaluate index expression that I need. The one that doesn't need self, this part. So let's refactor this out. Actually, then why don't I just make a new function? Actually, isn't that cast to iSize? Yeah, so why am I doing this when I have cast to iSize? Hold on. Cast to signed integer. Isn't this the same thing? It does add to a path. But yeah, well, it also returns this for some reason. Oh, because it's meant to be used during a casting operation. Wait, what? Oh, there's a final map? Yeah, where? Is this just, what, how does it get turned into a string? Wait, how does cast assign integers result? Cast to a string. Do I have an implementation of toString for that? Oh yeah, look at that. Forgot I did that. Okay. So yeah, the indexing is a little bit more limited, right? Because um, the casting down to an integer allows, if it could parse a string as an integer, it would use it. But yeah, indexing, we do want to treat a string number differently from, yeah, okay, so it does, it is a specific function we want. Like function cast to index, cast to signed index. Why am I typing all this? Actually, why am I even splitting this up? Oh, because this, I wanted it to call the other one. Right, that's why. Um, cast, because this is not in the same, not in the correct place. I have to do this and then I'll move it. And its value, not expression. Okay, let's move it. Right here, actually. Data value. Okay, and here's where I get to reuse it down here. Right here. Okay, cool. What's the warning I'm getting? Use of unwrap or for default value, just use or default. Okay. Even better. Okay, so that just clears the way so that I could maybe do oh, where was I? This walk index path. I should be able to now add another thing to this map match key values. Struggling to motivate yourself to learn coding? Should I just quit? I feels so. That sounds rhetorical because no one's gonna say yes, you should just quit unless they're a jerk. So if you're struggling to motivate yourself, that means you want to learn coding, but you're just lacking the motivation. And then it's usually not the right thing to do to just quit because then you're giving up on something you want. Feels like you don't have the proclivity to learn programming. I think you just need it's a motivational problem, not a not a decision. It's not a decision, it's just a problem with motivation. So you've decided that you want to learn coding. I mean, you could always reevaluate. You can ask yourself, do I really want to learn coding? Maybe your lack of motivation is your part of you is telling the other part that you don't really want to learn coding. So figure that out first, I guess. And if there you have reasons to learn coding, then I would say remind yourself of those reasons. You want to learn coding because you want to you would have a fun time if you had a job coding, you would enjoy your job. So there you go. Yeah, I'm horrible as when it comes to non-analytical stuff. I'll always give you an analytical reason. So, what can we do for motivation? Ask friends to come up with ideas on, as they know you pretty well, what motivates you. Maybe it's you need a fun goal, maybe you need a challenge. Like Advent of Code is a fun challenge, right? Where you use programming to solve puzzles. Went through a couple lessons in Learn CVP, you didn't find it fun. Then I think it sounds like the way you learn it, the style of learning is not to go through online lessons. So you got to find the learning style that matches you. So maybe you learn better in a actual or having an actual teacher guide you through it, or maybe you could learn by learning code on stream. Have your viewers motivate you. Yeah, I would say if your lack of motivation comes from what you're doing, like your mode of learning, then try a different way of learning. So, like, here's a good example. So, when I have this learn Rust, for example, and if I were to go to that link, so copy that link, go to my browser here, and paste the link. There are actually three buttons here. See, there's not just one. So let's say you're doing some lessons, which would be like the course, I guess, and it's just didn't find it fun. Well, try the examples. Try reading the book. Now, if you find that all three aren't fun, then there might be a deeper reason, like maybe you just don't like Rust, or you actually need a physical person teaching you, like you need to go to a class. But it could just be that the mode of learning, like maybe learning it through a lesson is just not fun, but maybe looking at code examples would be more fun. I don't know. You kind of have to play around with that, I think. Find find the style that works best for you. Okay, I think, we always want to do this path plus equal way up here. There's no reason not to. And then instead of casting it, I think we're just looking to see if it's in there. So Yeah, wouldn't I just do like yeah, actually this is much simpler. I just do value ref equal um values, the key values, get mute key, which is the index borrowed, right? So we get an option. So we need to do what with that? Right. If it's not in there, so I need to do entry actually, not get mute, because if it's not in there, we actually want to create an entry and fill it with nil to start with. Right. So it would be entry or insert with data value nil. And then actually that's all we need to do, right? Consume the index. Oh, not insert with, it's like or insert. There we go. I think I did it. Think streaming how to learning code is a great way to keep yourself disciplined. It also could be a motivational technique if uh if you find streaming fun, like you're already streaming for playing games or something, or just chatting, and you want to learn how to code and learning lessons is boring, just do it on stream. Have chat, liven it up. You can also ask ChatGPT to come up with some simple projects. I guess I think of ChatGPT as a search engine that understands natural language. So yeah, if there are projects out there that it's incorporated into its knowledge base, it could, yeah, basically regurgitate it for you. Something that's not trivial, but also not way too much at once. Sure, because there are a lot of ideas out there, and asking ChatGPT to list you some probably would work. Okay, let's put a bookmark there. I don't need a bookmark there. So just the test and the thing that the test runs through. Cool, it just works. How about L value non-existing? That also works. Awesome. Easy, 53 tests working. Great. So we're done with that. Go back to our to-do and say we are done, and assignment. Yeah, well, we didn't, yeah, that's done, right? Cool. For you, feels like you need to grasp object-oriented programming before you start any projects? Haven't pushed yourself hard enough to go through lessons? Object-oriented programming is just one kind of programming. You could also learn functional programming. Maybe if you learn that first, it would go better. I don't know. You click at any moment, you just need to keep learning every day. Just try. The general rule for when you get frustrated or demotivated is try something else. So try a different learning technique. Try a different kind of programming. You're finding it boring to do object-oriented programming. Try functional programming. Try web programming. Some people are better or think differently than others. So if you think functional programming is easier, someone else is going to find it harder, and the other way around. Yeah, maybe you're one of those who your brain is more compatible with that style of programming. Just give it, there's little to be lost in giving something a try, right? Give it an hour or two. Maybe you find it interesting. I don't know. It could also be you try a different learning resource. So the lessons you're learning are boring, try some other lessons for the same thing. You find me boring, try a different streamer, right? I think that general rule is a good one. Yeah, math does help understanding that. Yes, because you learn a lot of the terminology and the way to approach it when you learn math. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Oh, this one's going to be fun. I should just do that. Add a syntax for a loop. So the beginning of that is in the lexer because, well, I can either do the lexer or the token. Either way, I need to invent a new word, a new reserved word called loop. So why don't we just do that now? Loop. Actually, I should have just copied both of these lines, selected that, hit that, and do loop. And now we're done. We need to map loop, though. Which means that token needs to know about loop. So now the lexer knows about loop, right? So I can go to the parser, right, to the grammar, and add a loop test. Parser, source test. So in here, somewhere there'll be a test for loops. Maybe API. Test case. I guess not exactly here. Where would loops be? Formats, goal, ID list, interrupt key values. Statement, maybe? Yeah, maybe statement. So the statement test, right? There's probably a loop statement in here. Yeah, here we go. Loop test. That's a while loop. For loop. So yeah, so it's like this while loop case, only a little bit simpler, right? There's no condition. It's unconditional. So we'll call this one loop. So it'll be loop, no parentheses, just a brace, statement in it, right? So this should be statement loop, no condition. And I guess we'll just we don't even need to name it. We can just make it a new type, right? Okay, so the span of the identifier would be 0, 1, 2 to 4. Or 2 to 4. So loop doesn't exist as a statement, so then that prompts me to go and add it. Right? Loop. No condition, and we said we'd make it a new type, so that means getting rid of the name. Turning the braces into parentheses. Okay, well, that breaks this because we need to be able to display a loop. So a loop is just statements, right? So it means I don't care about there's no condition. It's just loop with no condition. Yeah. Something else is wrong with this. Are there two things called loop? Escape loop to use it as an identifier. Oh, loop is a reserved word. Oh, it is a reserved word, isn't it? There. Okay, we have an error. Non-exhaustive pattern. Okay, so execute statement. It doesn't know how to execute a while loop, a loop yet. So let's just make it do a to-do for now. Introduce a to-do. I also want to get rid of this AST statement thing. That should just be statement. Yeah. Cool. So now I should be able to run the test. and it will fail because we can't actually parse a loop statement right now. Oh, great question. Difference between output and token goes back to my terminology here. So output is the output of the lexer. So it's tied to the logos crate. But I didn't want the parser, which needs to turn the like input token stream of tokens. I didn't want it to be dependent directly on the lexer. So I'm using a technique called dependency dependency injection, right? We're reversing the dependency. We're saying the lexer isn't dependent on the parser isn't dependent on the lexer anymore. The parser is dependent on token, and lexer is dependent on token, and token is a common dependency, which is empty. So if I go to token, there's no mention of the parser or the lexer, right? It's just a plain type. So a couple of benefits of this, I can now I can rewrite the lexer in something else and not change the parser at all. And the cost of it is that I have to do one level of translation from output to a token, which you saw at the very bottom here. This translation, it's like, this seems pointless because it's just a one-to-one mapping. But the point is that it's going from a highly coupled type to an uncoupled type. So output is coupled to logos through this derive, right? So if I were to use it directly in the parser would now be coupled with logos. So that whenever you see inappropriate implementation coupling like that, think dependency injection, separation of concerns. So parser shouldn't care that we're using logos. In order to fully separate that, we make the parser use token, and we have the lexer generate token at its API surface layer. So if I go to like the lexer's lib level, it has a lexer which outputs token, not output. Token and joken, that's right. In the original C++, I didn't do that, and the parser and the lexer were all both in the same formatting library, and they were extremely closely coupled. So I couldn't actually change the lexer from flex to something else without breaking the Bison parser. So by the way, I do the same thing when we go from the parser's output to the ingestion's input. It goes through this third dependency called AST, which has no dependency on either the parser or the ingestion. So if I go to like statement in the AST, it's really just it doesn't depend on anything from the parser. It's just using its own types, and it's using built-in types like string, like expression. It's just like, it's semi-recursive, but it doesn't use anything from the parser again. It's using elemental bools, F64 string. Key value is just more expressions. So expression is probably the most complicated thing here, just because there are so many kinds of expressions. But like reference is totally simple. It's just a vector of reference parts, and that's just an ID with a vector of expressions. So none of it has anything to do with Lollerpop, which is how we make the grammar, right? It generates it accepts tokens from the parser, but and it outputs the AST types, but what comes in from, sorry, not the parser, it pulls in things from token, not out the output of the lexer, and it outputs the AST structures directly, rather than outputting anything that Lollerpop generated. Hey Popcorn, what's up for today? I'm implementing a loop, kind of a loop statement. And I was just explaining what's the difference between output and token. So token being like the type that goes between the lexer and the parser. Why do I have that, and I also have this output type, which looks the same, and that's because the output is tied to an implementation detail, and I wanted to decouple it. So I have an abstraction, a separation of concern. Token is abstract, output is concrete, and there's a mapping between them. So back to the test. Where's the test for? Is it here? Yeah, this test fails, right? Because it doesn't, it's an unrecognized, loop is an unrecognized token, right? So the lexer recognizes the loop, but the parser does not. So we have to go into the grammar to add this new kind of loop. So here we have a while loop and we have a for loop. Let's add loop. It's an unconditional loop, right? So there's no expression list. It's just that. We get a loop with just the statements in it. So we have to tell it what loop means. And I can actually collapse these into the same line now. So we tell it what loop means down here. We say that loop means token loop. Now if I go back to the tests, it should pass. Just read the Dragon book? Yeah. I learned compilers from this book, the Dragon book. Compilers, Principles, Techniques, and Tools. Really old book. You looked at stuff like parsec or fparsec? No. I've looked at nom, lollipop, and GNU Bison. There's one in the Helix source code. That's cool. Parsec, you say? I'm guessing that's a combinator. Monadic parser combinator. This is a Haskell library. Industrial strength parser library. See, the word monad scares me. Because it feels like it's like an esoteric term that people brag about understanding, and I still don't. F parsec is F sharp. Yeah, I need to be scared because it's Halloween week, right? Yeah, the term scares me because everyone explained, not everyone, a lot of people have explained what monad means, and I still don't get it. One day I'll be just happily programming along, and then I'll have this aha moment where, like, I finally understand what monad means. This is a Rust project, yes. So Haskell has some similarities, right? I've been told. It's not too far-fetched to talk about Haskell stuff here. Yeah, so our test pass. And everything should work, only if we were to write a test where we try to use a loop to parse something, it's going to fail. We will get we will hit that to do that I had to put into the code. So that's what I want to do next, actually. So let's add another kind of test, copying from while. It's the loop. So mod loop. And because that's a reserved word in Rust, we have to put R sharp if we want to use it as it is. And I will, because we can. So this is test. So there's no conditions. We don't have to test a bad loop condition. Yeah, we don't have to test conditions, do we? Okay, so really, I just need to have like a test for loop, right? Test loop. No conditions. Set up logger. So, we're not going to do a raw string. Hold on. How did I do this without using raw strings again? Or did I do raw strings? I can't remember this stuff. I did, but I didn't bother. Okay. Because it's not inside of a format, that's why. Okay, remove the format. Then I can do this. Okay, cool. That's what it was. My eye didn't see that at first. So we're gonna have like loop instead of a condition, right? So I guess what we'll do is we'll read, I know what we'll do. We'll do something fun. We'll read until we get a 1 bit. So we'll have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. And we'll do we'll read a bit. So bit x 1. And we'll say if x break. And then really we're just looking for the side effect of how many bits did we parse. So that would be 6, right? So expect 6 for the offset of the bit stream when we're done. Are we really making a compile time parser combinator here? I don't know why my phone just went. I'm making a compiler. I don't know about compile time parser combinator. So the ingestion library uses an abstract syntax tree, right, to break down data. To get an abstract syntax tree from an input program, I have to compile it. So that's what all this is, right? We're taking something like I have my test here. This is a program in my language, and I have to compile it to an abstract syntax tree. Now, most compilers take an abstract syntax tree and they pass it through a code generator phase. I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm just taking it and using it as is to ingest some bits. So we combine it with input bytes to form the data, or side effects like the fact that we read 6 bits out because we looped until we hit a bit, right? So it's a compiler-ish tool. It contains a compiler just for the purpose of me being able to describe in a custom language how to parse the data. If that makes so, I guess is interpreter a better name for it? It's an interpreter for this language, yes. But it's not a general purpose programming language. You can't it doesn't have I/O really. It depends completely on the a side input stream on the side, and we're kind of like merging the two. We're merging the data with the description of the data into a combined form. Yeah, we're not using test case. That was interesting. For a moment there, I saw a warning there. There is a warning there. What's the warning? Expression creates a reference is immediately dereferenced. So just use formats. Okay. All right, because it used to be a string and now it's a slice. Okay. Yep, we hit oh no, I hit an unexpected token, identifier X. Oh right, because we need parentheses there, which is something on my to-do list to deal with. Okay, yeah, we hit the not yet implemented. Okay, so the final step of this is we actually have to execute the loop statement. So I think it should be pretty easy because it's just like the while loop, only with no condition. So we just have statements and we do execute loop statement, which is statements inside. So let's go to while statement and just make a copy of it. And this is sorted alphabetically, right? Execute, yeah, so loop would go right before parse. Execute loop statement. Loot? No, loop. So I guess I did have an inner because we have an iteration, right? So we'll have a loop statement inner, which I'll copy from the while statement inner. Maybe we don't need it anymore. Maybe we still do. We'll find out. So here's loop statement inner, just no condition, right? So we don't need to evaluate a condition, delete it. And I don't need to do a try from either. We just execute statements. And we don't do any of that stuff. That's it, right? Right, so we still increment an iteration counter. And that needs to be set up by the caller here. So is there any reason to have an inner anymore? I mean, it looks nice. It's like, I see the pop that goes with the push. If I had an early return, which I didn't need to here. No, I do. Okay, still have those. That's another reason to have the inner. We have early returns, right? So, and we always want to pop on the way out. So that was why I did it that way. Okay, well, let's see it work. And there we have it. We've implemented the loop statement. So that means I can go back to my GIF format and turn that while true into loop. And now it should just work. If I do cargo run and parse the bits, it should just work, right? Yeah, I'm not a Twitch affiliate. I was a Twitch affiliate for a while, and then I got a job, and then I figured since I couldn't stream for a year, I felt bad people resubscribing, giving me money when I wasn't doing anything. So I gave up because I didn't know when I'd be able to stream again. I gave up the affiliate status. I could get it back, I guess, but I have a job, so I'm no longer like trying to make a living from the stream. Yeah. The one reason to become an affiliate again is to give you guys silly little emotes, right? That's the only thing you'd get. Well, I guess if you wanted to give me money, then you would be able to give me money. But you don't need to give me money. You want an emote? Yeah, I know. These emotes are the best, right? Like my goofy face. Or whenever I fail at something, you can say fail. Hey there, Rally Monkey, how are you doing? And Metal Storm. But hey, look at those loops. You can't be distracted, can you? Feel you push you further up the recommendations? Would it though? I guess what kind of soured me on the whole Twitch affiliate partner thing, there are two things. One was going to TwitchCon and saying that, oh, you're an affiliate, so you get to stand in this slightly shorter line, which is still really long. And because you're not as important as the partners, and then the fact that to become a partner, you needed 75 concurrent viewers, which was impossible in software and game dev because the entire category didn't have that many concurrent viewers ever. It's changed since then. So now what are we up to? Like there's maybe a couple hundred concurrent viewers. So you can get to be a partner if you like manage to pick the time slot where there's no one else and then everyone's now watching you, or you're entertaining enough where you're like everyone gravitates to your stream. And I know I'm not that entertaining. So I knew I would never get partner. And so I'm like, why am I aspiring to earn this special status that like is practically impossible to get and would only mean a shorter line at TwitchCon and what maybe a little bit more money, but you can't even make minimum wage on Twitch unless you're like super popular in the and never in this category. You'd have to be in like the just chatting category or something like that. Yeah, hot tub. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They don't even get a proper, yeah. So it's like, it soured me on the whole thing. And I'm like, I just don't like that it comes down to people giving money for getting emotes, and I'm like, we can actually just get the emotes onto BTTV, and then you don't need to subscribe, right? You'd pull your Parmesan thing. Well, I appreciate that, but and I'll think about I'd probably be okay with going back to affiliate tier because it's still really not it's not really that big of a jump up, and I am doing this more regularly, so yeah. Well, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Right now, I just want to see. So this always irked me that I had to have a useless condition in there. I like the idea with Rust that we can just say loop, and now it's more rusty, right? See, that should not affect the ability to parse, and it doesn't. Oh, that's okay. I derail myself all the time, and I appreciate the that you like the content. That does mean a lot to me. That's if I didn't get feedback like that, I probably would eventually just stop streaming because I'd be like, this is stressful for no reason. So the fact that people like it and get something out of it, and then you also give me back a lot of feedback too, like ideas I want to improve in the code and whatnot. If it weren't for that, there'd be no reason to do this. Every other language, while one, Rust, poop, or loop, right? I could make poop an alias for loop just for fun. Do you know how I would do that? I'd go to the output and I would go to where it says loop, and I would just make a token poop. I guess I would actually, yeah. Then I would just map it to loop here. I would say poop goes to loop, and we're all good now. So now, well, I get a warning. But everything should still build, and now I can use poop as a alias for loop. Watch this. So now I can just misspell it poop, and it just still works. Isn't that cool? Actively resisting money now is horrible. Oh, I can't do it all in one stream. I have to do the application process, right? A loop with no break statements become values to bang because the compiler knows it never exists loop. That's an answer to, or no, that's what you're saying. Rust loops have a different semantics from while true, though. Well, no, you can. But break is a escape hash to that, right, Spoof? So break means that you're throwing away any value anyway. No, it's that break provides the value for the loop. So isn't that okay? So when I have something like what I did in statements, right? Here, when I have a return, well, if I had like a break, right? Oh, it doesn't let me do a break because I have to actually have a return scope next out here, right? Loop actually never loops. Well, that's true, but how do I make it loop? Oh, I guess it would be this. Hold on. Hold on. I did the wrong one. This just does a break, right? If I do let x equal it, it's not bang, isn't it? Just the type of this is unit actually. So it's not bang. As long as we have a break, doesn't Rust know that we're the type of whatever? So if I break 42, now the type is an integer. So you're saying a loop without a break in it, right? You can break out of a loop with a value. You can't do that with a while for loop. True. Well, can't you? Actually, can't I do a while true here? And doesn't that also work? Oh, no, you're right. Break with the value from while loop. Can only break with the value inside a loop or breakable block. Okay, I'm stand corrected. So loop can have a value if you a loop can have a value, but only if there's a break, right? So if I put this back to the way it was, loop doesn't have a value anymore. It's a bang, I think, right? Yep, it's a bang. You're right. All right, I stand corrected. So the default value of loop is bang because there's no way out of it. There's no way out of it to the next statement in the same scope. The only way out is to return. Unless I did a break and then it can have a value and it's whatever expression you give to break. Yes, I did poop the code. Yeah, do a break, return next, a break next instead of return next. Yep. The regex would have done it too. Yeah, you're right. So I could have, I didn't need it in the output, right? But I would have had to turn, like you just said, I couldn't have made poop a reserved word. I would have had to use a regex. Poop, I guess that's this. There we go. So that also works, right? Bloop. I should just keep that in there for fun. I should, but I'm not going to because I'm a dad now and I have to set good examples. We can't have poop in our code. So actually now what happens if I run it without fixing the GIF is that it says plus unexpected because it thought poop was a it thought poop was a format and it thought that this was a interpretation of the format. Fix it. Can't file out the code base with that stinky code. Exactly. If npm can have install, why can't DataDisintegrator have poop? Ship it with the poop. Oh, you guys and your bodily humor. Poop. I have to set a good example for the kiddos, right? Let's see. What do I work on next? I got like, I don't know, 40 minutes and then I got to go drive to work. How to test to ensure evaluating arguments stops on the first error. Sure. Okay. So that's what function. So function bad argument. Yep. Okay, so let's put like an error here. So that would be like an unresolved reference and then a 2. So what do I expect to happen? What's the point of ensuring that the evaluating stops on the first error? There's no side effect to evaluating, right? Maybe putting a Y there. Okay, we'll just assert that there's an error. I actually don't need that, do I? Well, actually I might, because it might say it's unfound, but now it'll be found and it'll try to evaluate the argument list and say, I don't know what that is. X unfound. Okay, it didn't say Y unfound, so that means it did stop. So I think, I don't remember exactly why I asked myself to do that, but I did, and we're done. What do I expect to happen? This is the top question. Yes, exactly. Sometimes I wish that I were to include the reason why I want my future self to do something. See if we can get rid of parentheses. There we go. That's a noble goal. And get rid of parentheses. Make it more like Rust, right? So the idea would be not in the parser. Well, I guess we could put it in the parser, but Actually, that's exactly where we should put it. Statement in the parser test. It's a while loop without parentheses around the expression is exactly what it is. So test case while no parentheses. While loop no parentheses. So I drop the parentheses. It's just while 42. Left brace. So I expect it to parse. If I expect it to parse like that, these will change to 3 and 5 because I got rid of 2 tokens. So this is going to fail because it's going to be like, I don't know what 42 is. I expected a parentheses. Exactly. If x instead of if parentheses x. You got it. So it says unrecognized token, signed integer, expected left parentheses. So when I say attempt to do it, the grammar might become ambiguous and then I might just give up. So a couple ways we could do it, right? I could just add another rule that says that we could put an expression there. Although I know that's going to be ambiguous because if we have an expression which is a parentheses expression, now it's totally like ambiguous. So actually, wouldn't it be better just to make it that the parentheses are never there, and then if you wanted to, you could put the expression in parentheses? I should just run the test, shouldn't I? See ya, popcorn. If this works, then that's great. Now we'll try to do it with the if statement. Hey, it worked. Parentheses are now optional. That was easy. So in like GIF, I could just remove like where we have a while loop. Do we have while loops everywhere? Anywhere? No, I'm not using a while loop. I use if statements. So let's do the same thing with if statements. Statement again, right? It's hard to find them when the outline doesn't work. If else, if else, if. Okay, let's copy the if with no parentheses. If no parentheses. So just say if 42. Left brace. So the token numbers are 3 and 5 instead of 5 and 7. Waiting for lock on build directory. Now it's building. Failed. Unrecognized token, assigned integer, expected left parentheses. Let's not expect it anymore. Grammar. If, where is it? If, where are you, if? Oh, it's in alternatives, right? Alternatives? Or are the alternatives? Conditionals. Here it is. So remove the parentheses. And I guess we're removing it from the else ifs also. Although I don't have a test for it. Let's just see if it works. Too many things called statement. So I don't know why I made them required. I guess maybe it's one of two things. Either I felt that it was just natural to have them always, or in the Bison grammar, I needed it to disambiguate the grammar. But apparently we have no problem with that with Lollipop. So I did that and that was easy. We should have just done it a long time ago. I can get rid of these parentheses now. Right? Building, building, build it. Build it faster. Come on, computer. You can do it. Yes, so it just works. Done. Huh. So if I run it and then I hit Q, I break the pipe and it gets mad at me. Cool, so I can get rid of all my parentheses. Everywhere. That's a lot of places. I don't need parentheses for these returns either, right? No, I need them on line 80 because of... Oh, that's because I damaged this if. I'll leave these parentheses in there because that makes it easier to understand. Yeah, so the returns don't need parentheses either. I don't think it ever did need them. I think I was just doing that because reasons. Yeah. All right, cool. It works. We got rid of parentheses. Yay. Just to make sure, in the grammar, the only place where we should see like L paren for loops right now, which I think is fine. ID list if it's optional. Expression list if it's optional. The explicit left parentheses. The special parentheses for a set because it goes with less than left parentheses. Function calls need parentheses. Yeah, they just need them. Yeah, so cool. We did it. El Paren is a Mexican restaurant down the street from you. That's funny. El Paren. Be able to parse 32-bit float. I really don't feel like doing that right now. Enhance the grammar to not require a semicolon for the loop next statement in a for loop. As part of this, see if we can remove semi from all or most of the statement rules. Okay, well, at least that is sort of a wart, isn't it? So it's this semi. Can I just remove that? No, it's not that one. It's the one built into this one. That's the problem. It's the problem. The problem is that span statement is built on statement, which will have a parentheses built, a semicolon built into it. All of these are built into it. Yeah, I don't know how I would remove that. I think the way that I would do it is I would remove all the semis, but I'd have to also remove the R braces off. And then R brace and semicolon would become what separates statements. And we would make a trailing one acceptable. But it would allow for some strange things. So, for example, you could, if you have a brace at the end of something like this, you could do that and it would be acceptable as terminating the if. Right? No, 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 it wouldn't. Sorry, that's not true. It would be that you could put a brace there, and that would allow that to terminate the statement, which would be really weird because you'd think it would terminate the if also, but technically it wouldn't, because the way this would be reduced is we would be expecting a curly brace or a semicolon, and it would be, oh, we found one, so that terminates the statement. Then it would make the grammar ambiguous, wouldn't it? Yeah, it does look weird. So yeah, the wart right now is in for loops. I have to have a semicolon right there, because this is a full-fledged statement, and all statements end in a semicolon if they don't end in a brace. So there's just has to be one there. If I remove that and I try to run this, it will say right parentheses is unexpected for here. Maybe I can make the semicolon optional. I can make it optional for like increment statements at least. Maybe that would be the compromise, that we can have an optional semi in unary operators, because those are not expressions, those are statements. So down here in the increment statement, I could just make this op semi, which I already have a grammar for, right? No, I don't have a grammar for it. But let's say we made a grammar for op semi. Okay, we need a semicolon for expression, because otherwise we could have something else to the right and it doesn't know how to shift or reduce it. But, well, actually, we might have the same problem with the reference. Let's see if I can get away with this. So if I make like a rule op semi, which is no data, and it either is this or it is semi. Let's see if, so if I can build the parser package, the parser builds, then that's a good compromise, because that's what I usually do in a for loop. Nope, it's ambiguous. We get this barf if it's ambiguous. So I have to see this properly, I gotta do 2 goes into 1 and then less it. Parse in parentheses of a for as semicolon parentheses. The problem is that it's still trying to determine if it can reduce the statement rule as increment something, or if it needs to continue shifting things in. Yeah, so I think the problem is that it's when we increment a ref, and that it doesn't know how to shift things here. Yeah, so maybe this explains it. So if we have a span statements inc ref part optional semi span statement, if we see a ref, it might yield a parse trait like this. Alternatively, could shift a left bracket token, later use it to construct a ref part. This might then yield a parse trait looks like not ref part left bracket expression right bracket, right? So this is like a indexing, right? Right, because a left bracket can start a statement. Yeah, so I think I can illustrate this. So if we said like, increment I, and then I didn't have that, but I had a 5, technically, well, not in this context, but if I had it like here, say, plus plus I, and then I didn't put a semicolon. I just started a spanned region, right? This is ambiguous. It could either mean increment I or it could mean increment I index 5. It's only looking ahead one token, so it can't see that the 5 only works as a spanned block. So we need to have that to disambiguate it. I could do it with a special kind of statement where the statement isn't followed by another statement, right? Or I don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't know how to do this. So yeah, I think we're not doing this after all, right? They're giving up on that for now. Best statement is a whole bunch of parentheses. Then you would like the Lisp programming language. For A4. Yeah. Whenever we touch the grammar, it like takes forever to compile. The comma before grammar issue, could try to address that. These are all the hard problems that I punted on before. Oh, we could do the warning one. That's not too hard. Syntax for excluding an argument from the component set of parts. That's not too hard either, but I don't know when I would actually use that. Still repeat that you can simply change for statement to say that whatever is in the right bracket, its parse statement goes to statement. I just don't see how I would change the for loop. This is a span statement. Do you want me to make a special kind of statement that doesn't end in a semicolon? Because statement's quite a lot of things, right? I could actually have a for loop as the loop next if I wanted. Basically, this stuff in for auto closes itself. And you end it manually. Yeah, I would have to have some kind of like loop next statement or single statement or something like that. One that can't be in, one that doesn't need to end in a semicolon because it always a right parent always terminates it or something like that, right? It'll also help you making stuff similar in the future if you decide to. So I'm trying to understand what you said. Parsed as parentheses statement goes to statement semicolon. I'm trying to understand it, but I'm sorry. I'm not getting it. I feel like you have a good point, but I'm not parsing it well enough this morning. So you probably deserve points, and I don't know 100%. Should I just give you points anyway? You're probably right, but I just don't know how to do anything with that. Here, we'll give you a point. This is your first useless internet point. Yeah, it's not you, it's me. I will leave that as a to-do until I grow another part of my brain that knows how to figure that out and understand that. This is a watch the VOD to figure out why I wanted that. Built-in type conversion. Yeah, kind of need that. I don't remember what that was about. I think maybe we can say that that's done. The comma before grammar issue, yeah. So that's in a lot of these, right? So whenever we have a comma separated list, like an ID list, because an ID list can be empty, that means you can start with a comma. And one idea about turning this around is we put the comma list somewhere else and we add an extra rule for this. I think it was that we put the ID list on the right, like this. And we put the comma in between them. That way there always has to be an identifier before a comma, but it's now a right associative rule. So at the end I need to, or on each step I need to reverse it. That's the consequence of doing that. So my IDs are going to be backwards right now. Yeah, well, this would support trailing commas because this can go to nothing, which means you can have a trailing comma. The problem is that the chain is going to be backwards, right? We're pushing things from right to left instead of left to right. Unless I could push it onto the front. If I did an insert 0, that would work. That's how insert works in Rust, right? Insert into a vector. It's inefficient though, it's a problem. Back insert. So does vec have like a push front? It doesn't, right? So I could either push it right to left and then reverse it. And there's no reverse for a vector, is there? Swap. Split off. Or just insert in the front. Actually, how would I even know when we're done? It would be wherever we use an ID list, we'd have to reverse the vector. Yeah, we're reading it backwards now. That's exactly what we're doing. But the problem is as we're reading it, we're inserting, I was pushing, but that'll end up with things in backwards order, right? Because this is right associative. This is going from right to left and inserting the first one last. See? So if I have to insert in the front now to keep it in order. That will work, I think, unless it makes it ambiguous. Just use drefs to reverse. You can use a vectq instead of a vec. It has a push front. That's a good idea. I like that idea. I could just read it backwards, exactly. But is it hard to read a vector backwards? No, you just do rev, right, for the iterator. Reverses an iterator's direction. It has to be a double-ended iterator. But vec is a double-ended, vec supports double-ended iterators, right? Where do we see like, so there are no implementers of double-ended, but click that. Okay, it just doesn't show up here. Is vec a double-ended iterator? It would be like a vec iterator. Vectq. It's hard to read this, so I might be skipping it and I just don't see it. Vectq drain. Vec. Into iterator, huh? So probably a vector supports double-ended iterator, so I could reverse it. So yeah, if I would just have to remember to reverse it. Hey, Dr. Evested, derevested. You can either push to the vector and reverse it, or use a vecq and convert to vect. Both will be order n. Or I could just leave it as a vectq and push on the front. But see, yeah, it still works. I just it's maybe a little bit less efficient. Um, it's just gonna poison a lot of things, right? Because in this, they all have to be a vec DQ. Maybe I just eat the performance penalty of this because we're not gonna have a whole lot of these, and it's really not moving the string. It's just moving the pointer to the string. So maybe I just deal with this. So now we support trailing commas, but yeah, this is fine. No, this is not fine. This is another instance where I gotta reverse it. Gotta make it right associative. And this has to be insert 0. Another instance of that. To support the trailing commas. Another way to look would have been to look for push. Okay, this is fine because there's no delimiter between them. That's fine. That's fine as well because a reference can't be empty. Ref part can't be empty either. Okay, I think we're good. Why does AutoMod think that LMFAO was swearing? Let's okay that term. You can just get this one simple trick cuts your compile time article, free marketing. Use a stack. Well, that's the same as just saying reverse, pull it off in reverse order, right? Only making it formal by using a stack data type instead of a vector. It's kind of swearing, but it's not. That's true. You swore even louder. That's right. Well, we schooled AutoMod. We're like, we added that as a permitted term. Okay, so if I did this right, actually, hold on. I didn't actually hit save, did I? Save. Uh-oh. I didn't hit save and it's ambiguous. So it became ambiguous somewhere. I'm not sure where. Does that mean it just doesn't work? Hold on, let's move this back here, right? So that it's only used for an ID list. I have a feeling that this one's gonna work. Then I'll just do a redo and see how far we can get. Build that parser. You can do it. Okay, so we can do it for an ID list. So what's the deal with, so maybe it's a comma separated list that doesn't work for that? Hello, Stripe Monkey. Do you watch anime? No. I don't watch anime. I don't have any time to watch stuff. I sleep, I eat, I work, I play World of Warcraft, I do streaming. That's about all I have time for. Oh, and we dropped a bunch of frames. 64 frames got dropped on the ground. Okay, so key value, so it's what, expression? Expression list has a problem. Expression list is somehow ambiguous. First, okay, problem arises after having observed the following symbols in the input. Left paren, expression. At that point, if the next token is a comma, then the parser can proceed in two different ways. First, the parser could execute to production, which would consume the token and produce an expression list. This might then yield a parser tree like left bracket expression list, and then an optional comma, and then a right bracket. That's an expression 0. Is it? Right, that's a map expression. Alternatively, the parser could shift the comma token later, could use it to construct an expression. This might yield a parser tree like expression, comma, expression list, left parenthesis. Where is that ever? Why is that a expression list? Oh, that's an optional expression list, and that's an expression. So it just doesn't, it can't look far enough ahead. That's the problem. You would have to look ahead like more than one symbol. It's just that it can't see that right bracket. Okay, well, that's a bummer. How do I fix that? And is there are more complex too? Or is it just elaborating? I think it's just elaborating. It's like, here are all the ways that I get stuck. The shift reduce conflict, the worst kind, right? Or is it reduce? Oh. Whoops. If I use mouse wheel outside of the window, it switches between workspaces. I was right on the edge and it like starts to flip through workspaces. This is just like pages and pages of repetition, isn't it? So this is the only useful information here. Getting PTSD from your previous college semester? Or did you do compiler theory? What did you change before it stopped working? I'm trying to allow trailing commas now in expression list for yeah, in expression lists. Is it because of this extra rule? Hold on, is that the reason why? No, I had the same thing in key values. So key values it's okay with. Because I think because of the colon disambiguates it, right? But in expression list, there are lots of different kinds of expressions, and I think it's getting confused with comma. Is it because comma is used elsewhere? Using an ID list. Op comma. Oh, wait a minute. Why do I have that in there? That's why. I was expressly allowing it here, but now I shouldn't because it's built into expression list. Okay, that's the reason why. We had an op comma rule. Okay, so I manufactured my own ambiguity because we already were allowing optional commas in a few places. But now it's built into the expression list rule, and so we don't need it in other rules. Okay, that was it. Now I feel silly because I forgot that I had it built into a couple rules. Jeez. You love a compiler class? Would you love to teach it or to be a student? Okay, I feel much better then. So then I should be able to use optional commas everywhere I want. So testing this, right? I should no longer be able to put a comma beforehand. Comma unexpected, right? But I should be able to put a trailing one just fine. Yeah, it works. We're all good. Fixed it. At the cost of inserting them in the wrong order because of how the grammar is built. Okay, so that's done. Fixed. This one is hard. I have maybe time for one more. Actually, in addition to the code coverage tools, I wanted to explore, what's it called? Hot path. Try out hot path. I saw another streamer using this and it looked cool. I wanted to try it out. Rust hot path. Not hot patch. Is it not called hot path? Is it profiling? Hot spot? Maybe it was hot spot. Yeah, it was this. That I could just run the parser and get performance data and show like where we're spending all of our time. Hot spot. But this isn't Rust, is it? This is just displaying it. Okay, so maybe this wasn't it. Flame graph, is that it? Cargo flame graph? Inferno? There sure are a lot of different versions of this. What I would want is something that doesn't require me modifying stuff. You must use the no RO segment. Not be able to generate accurate stack traces. So that's the downside, right? Am I not using LLD? I am on Linux. I did not switch to it. Yes, so if I don't need to do anything because I'm not using LLD, then I can just try this out now, right? Cargo install flame graph. Because this would be neat to see like where I might have some performance bottlenecks. Default is gold, the new linker. All right, well, let's try it out then. These things that are cheap to try out because all I do is cargo install something, then I'm perfectly happy trying it out. If I have to modify my project, the more I have to modify my project to try something else out, the less I like it. I'm gonna back this up first. Anyway, okay, so the way we run it is how? That's to install. How do I run it? Arbitrary execution. I hate scroll bars in web browsers. Like, shouldn't the scroll bar not scroll off the bottom like that? So it's just path to my binary. Wait, if it's a cargo install, okay, so I can just do cargo flame graph, okay. But then I have to actually tell it what to run, right? So here we go. It's gonna be cargo flame graph, then my command. Okay, cargo flame graph dash dash. Wait, my command. No, to do a bin, right? Ingest. And how do I pass my arguments? I guess it's dash dash. Do I need my command? There's a lot of ways to run this. Let's just guess that it's this. It's dash dash and then gif lol.gif gif.fmt, and these have to have stage in front because that's where I put those files. Could not spawn perf. No such file or directory. Profiling without debug info. Enable simple information by adding the following to cargo toml debug equals true or set this environment variable. Okay, I'm okay doing this one because that makes a release build with debug info, right? Copy. And that actually goes, can that go workspace wide? I don't remember. I think so. Let's see. Get past one complaint, maybe. Yeah, okay, so it's, but I have to get the perf installed, right? It probably says that that is a prerequisite. Relies on perf. So I just need to install it. Is it Linux tools, not perf? This is now one of my favorite things to ask ChatGPT because it tells me the package name. How do I get the perf command on Ubuntu? Blah, blah. It's part of the Linux tools package. Thank you. Thank you, Spoof. Thank you, ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is still talking. I don't know why. It was a simple question that Spoof already answered. Sudo apt install Linux tools. What? It's a virtual package provided by. Oh, it says Linux tools common, Linux tools generic. That's what ChatGPT told me to do. I think ChatGPT. See, this is why ChatGPT is cool. Like it told me that. I just didn't read far enough to see it. So perf now works. Perf not found. I need to install. Okay. 6.0.2 dash 36 dash generic. See, did ChatGPT tell me that? It does say to do perf version to verify. Okay. So we're good. All right, flame graph time. Error. Access to performance information observability operations limited. Consider adjusting proc sys kernel perf event paranoid setting to open access to performance monitoring without cap perfmon, blah, blah, blah. Ugh. I hate this kind of thing. Oh, it actually says what to do here. So that's actually what I ended up doing. But I guess I got to open something up. Does this talk about it? You need to lower. Oh, here we go. Well, this is a virtual machine. I don't care. So wouldn't I just do this? Paste. There. Don't be paranoid. There we go. I should have redirected it to dev null, right? So let's remove the flame graph because I think it's biased. We're gonna rerun this and we're gonna redirect to. Actually, it all goes to dev null, right? There's no standard error. Okay, and now I just find that file, right? Flamegraph.svg. Except I need to drag that into a browser or something, right? Where's my file folder thing? Is it this one? Nope. This one. Projects. Open folder. Flame graph. There we go. Wow, okay. Well, it looks pretty fairly distributed, right? Huh. Yeah, I found it. I found it in the instructions for flame graph are actually really helpful, which I should have yeah, right here. They say how to do it. And they also say what I should have installed. Like I didn't have to ask ChatGPT because it said it right here. Common, generic, and the tools that match your kernel. Yeah. It sure does look flamey. So I would usually I'd look for like something like this. I'd look for something that's unusually dominant, but I don't really see anything other than like yeah, I told to execute statements, right? There was a lot of them. 144 statements that it had to execute. Well, 144 samples. So if I click on a leaf node, we can see the call stack. Oh, this is time actually reading from doing the read. Click around it, yeah. Okay, here's one that's maybe a bad one. It takes us a lot of time to make bitstream subsets because we're doing a lot of file seeking. Okay, so I could actually improve it a lot by caching the length of the file, right? It would be cool as if this like had I guess if I hover over it shows at the bottom. Okay, 20% of the time, 15.93% of the time is getting the length of the file. We know that the file's length never changes, so I could cache this, right? So let's see what kind of performance improvement I can get. So I really should have done a time on that to begin with, right? Time. It just takes longer because it's running the flame graph, right? If I were to do time and remove the flame graph part and do cargo run, release. Yeah, it runs much faster. Okay, so 0.255 total. So then if I were to go and to wow, okay, I'm out of time, but we'll try this out. I think it's getting this length that's taking too long, right? Because we're doing the seek thing. So what if we can't have mutable access, but what if we like have a cell for that file length? Actually, why don't I just pre-compute it? Length, usize, right? And the length is we'll just compute it up front, and I won't do this stuff here. Yeah, we'll just do this. In fact, that's all I need, right? At the very beginning, we're going to seek to the end and get the position, and that's the length. Make this mutable. And then I just return self length here. Okay, and then run it again. It made it slower? No, just the first run was slower. Why would the first... Oh, because it's building. Yeah. Dang, it went from 0.255 to 0.082. All right, I'm sold on this flame graph then. Look at the front flame graph again. Now it's improved. What? All. Reset zoom. Oh, because it's panicking. I should have looked at the output first, right? It's panicking. Inner bound surpasses outer bound. Oh, I did a mistake. I didn't multiply by 8. No, I did multiply by 8. Well, then what's the deal? Oh, I need to reset the position back to 0 at the end. Probably. Start. That's probably what's wrong. Yep. Okay, now we can get the flame. Well, let's get the time on it. 0.231. Wait, that didn't get any faster then, right? Now I forget what the original performance was. But I shouldn't see like the seeking of the file being so dominant. Okay, now I kind of want to go back to what it was to see what the actual improvement was, because this says it's 0.229. Actually, I wonder if let's remove the cargo run in front of it. So I should just be able to say target release ingest, right? Okay, so right now it's 0.161, right? So let's comment this out. Actually, let's just undo. Save. No, I have to undo more. Save. Run it again carefully. I have to cargo, build, release, package, ingest, or bin ingest, right? Does the same thing, right? Okay, so it's 0.2 before. Now carefully redo. Build. Time. Went from 0.2 to 0.16. That's cool. Oh, logging takes a long time. Oh, this is the callback, right? Yeah. This is what when we ingest a composite, we call the box callback and it goes and does log. So time formatting and sometime logging, and there's going into simple logger, and it's computing the current time takes a while. Okay. Reset it. So this amount of the time right here is just the logging part. What's that? That's all the parsing as an unsigned integer. Building apart. Okay, so stream subset is still taking a while. Determining a limit. Oh, it's still doing a seek for the current position. Okay, so we could cache the position then and save some more time there. Yeah, and this is more logging. Call mutable and just... Oh, these must be the warning messages. One of these is the warning message, I think, and the other one is the non-warning messages. Because there are two closures, right? There's an ingest main closure there, and then there's an ingest main closure here, and they're not named, so I don't know which one's which. So one's for the warning messages and one's for the non-warning messages. So we're spending time in doing warning messages. We're spending time parsing, executing statements, and ingesting. Add part does a lot, actually. What is this doing? Cloning strings? Huh. Oh, I bet it's because when we do add part, yeah, it's just allocating space for strings. Well, the clone is only this much. What are we converting to string? We're formatting something in add part is taking a while. Yeah, anyway, these are all cool things. Like now I can see kind of like what is dominating the performance. What's the biggest performance impact, right? So we see that the needless recalculation of the file length. So I cached it because the files don't change in size. And I could do the same thing for this part, right? Where we're getting the offset. We don't actually need to go to the IO stream position. We should know what our position is. Same thing here. I don't know why it breaks it out. Oh, when we make a new one and when we determine the limit are the times that we get the offset. In both times, see, it's not smart enough to collapse these two. They're the same, right? So it really should collapse these two and say both, these are two paths into the same thing. And it all of the time, it's dominated by, except for this small amount here, it's dominated by the LSeek. So why am I seeking around just to get the current offset? I should know that. So that would be the next thing that I want to work on when I have more time. My stream is on fire. It's pretty cool. Gotta say, that was a nice thing. And I can now mark it off the list, right? So it was flame graph. Done. Cool. I gotta go because I got this thing called job I have to do. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. We're gonna go over to Togglebit. Ooh, he's streaming? Is he still going? See if we can rate him before he leaves. All right. Rating Togglebit. Very entertaining streamer, so I hope you have fun watching his stream. Hopefully he's streaming for a little bit longer. Sometimes he is on his way out when I am too, so hopefully not today. All right, see you guys later. Bye.